All right, we are live and officially ready to go for another day of politics. Right now, we are looking at the White House press briefing room. Reporters are filing in, sitting down, getting ready for, of course, Caroline Leavitt. And I've got a couple other things to go over today. Just a couple Twitter things here. We'll get to that when we get to it. And then, of course, now this isn't Nick Shirley. This is another channel. This is Freedom News TV, right in the heart of the Dearborn, Michigan chaos. We will be watching that before question period. But first things first, let's get into the White House briefing. Should start very, very soon. Decided to go a little bit live a little bit earlier so I can properly set things up here. Live on YouTube, Rumble, and Kick. Good to go. All right. In the meantime, we have about 5 minutes before this begins. I'm going to go grab some water, and we'll get right into it. For the love of God, I gotta get a new chair. That is definitely on the list of things to get. The wheels on this thing, they're either uneven or the chair has, like, slanted. I can never get into a good, solid position. I'm always moving. Very uncomfortable sometimes. But we are a couple minutes out here. I guess I can get into one thing very quickly because it won't take too long to talk about. Just a quick roast here from Frank Caputo. Just let's go back to the very beginning. Frank Caputo says talk is cheap. Since 2015, extortion has skyrocketed 330%. He goes on to talk about why the liberals suck. And Frank Caputo, conservative MP, gets a reply, "You are useless." And he replies back, "But my mom says I am awesome." And he gets a bunch of comments actually claiming that he's a pretty cool guy. I got to admit, Frank Caputo is definitely one of the better conservative MPs. He's got some good comebacks. He's a F around and find out kind of guy in the committees, and I respect it. I appreciate it. A lot of good moments from Frank Caputo, a lot of good questions from Frank Caputo, and he's definitely one of those MPs that build up the conservative bench to a solid standard. Anyway, let's get back into what's going on here. Alright, so I'm going to keep an eye on this. In the meantime, we can watch a bit of the Canadian House of Commons.
And greater choices between providers, which will create a more dynamic financial sector and productive economy. Unlocking these new opportunities will lead to improved financial decision-making, lower costs, and more tailored product and services for consumers. Bill C-15 will be fundamental to achieving this, as it proposes legislative changes which would complete the consumer-driven banking framework by transferring its governance to the Bank of Canada, and by making a legislative amendment to the Personal Information Protection Electronic Documents Act that will grant Canadians a right to data mobility, supporting an economy-wide approach to data sharing. All Canadians expected to benefit from consumer-driven banking framework, and it will promote competition and reduce risks in the financial services industry by regulating financial data sharing. For consumers, this could mean greater financial inclusion, more informed decisions, and better management and reduction of financial stressors. For businesses, it could mean improved access to new forms of financing and reducing administrative burden from better integration and automation of key functions. But lower income and financially stressed households are expected to benefit most through the access to lower cost products, clearer choices and tools to manage debts and reduce financial crisis. What's more, Mr. Speaker, this is not only way that Bill C-15 would help Canadian financial consumers save and manage their money. Competition in the sector can also drive efficiency and support economic development and productivity as financial institutions are driven to allocate capital to their most productive uses. That's why Budget 2025 and Bill C-15 builds on action our new government has already taken to make life more.
What's up, Spider-Man? How's it going? Currently just waiting for the White House press briefing to start, and then we'll be heading into some other things. But right now, debating C-15, 2025 Budget Implementation Act. Not entirely sure what they're debating, just kind of hopped in here. And he's done,
Questions
so.
and comments. Question et commentaire. The honourable member for Edmonton Griesbach.
Waiting for the White House briefing. There's probably going to be a ton of Epstein questions, a lot of the file questions. Trump did release a big statement yesterday on either Twitter or Truth Social, claiming that he signed it, the files should be released. He dropped a bunch of names as well, actually. People that had close affiliation, according to him, or whatever the case is.
Of our lifetime, we are meeting the moment to address affordability issues. The Prime Minister has a clear vision. This new government has a clear vision to eliminate the divisiveness so that consumer carbon price was dividing Canadians. To eliminate that, we have cut that consumer carbon price.
Questions and comments. Question et commentaire.
Oh boy.
Honourable member for Rimouski, La Matapédia. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I listened closely to this speech.
I saw something about a former Canadian Olympian. Apparently like the modern day Pablo Escobar, they're calling him. I don't know if that's what you're talking about. I could be wrong. I don't know. I saw something about this former Canadian Olympian allegedly in a drug ring with people and sources and all around the world, apparently. Like, literally, they're dubbing him modern day Pablo Escobar, which is... That's definitely quite the title to give him.
My colleagues who voted against the generational budget, which includes dental care, health care, transfer to provinces. This is a budget to build, protect, and empower, and to address affordability and to build the strongest economy in the G7. This is a budget focused on spend less and invest more so we can build the strongest economy in the G7.
Questions and comments. The honourable member for Sackville, Bedford, Preston.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I want to thank the President of the Treasury Board for his speech. I know one of the things that he was involved in the development of the budget was the Comprehensive Expenditure Review, which finds $60 billion in savings over 5 years. I wonder if the President of the Treasury Board could give us an update on that process and how it will save Canadians money over the long term.
The honourable President of the Treasury Board.
I'd like to thank my honourable colleague for his question. As you know, we are facing new norms, new realities. Things have changed globally. So we are focused in spending less and investing more and finding those savings to reassign those resources where it matters most to Canadians. And that's why we launched comprehensive expenditure review, where we'll be balancing our operational budget in next 3 years. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Questions and comments? The honourable member for Elgin, St. Thomas, London South, about 45 seconds.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I don't even need that much time. The president of the Treasury Board said the government is spending less to invest more. The Prime Minister said the deficit would be capped at $72 billion, but this budget has it at $78 billion. So is 78 more or less than 62?
The honourable president of the Treasury Board. Order. Order.
I'd like to thank my honorable colleague for his question. The new government was elected on the mandate to spend less and invest more and to build the strongest economy in the G7, and that's exactly we are focused on. Budget 2025 is focused in delivering investments in our Canadian Armed Forces, in infrastructure and housing, which means massive opportunities of jobs and growth of our economy. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member for Elgin, St. Thomas, London South, on a point of order.
Sorry, Mr. Speaker. There was some noise here. I don't believe the president of the Treasury Board heard the question. It's is 78 more or less than 62?
Order. That's clearly a matter of debate, not a point of order. Resuming debate. Reprise du débat. The honourable member for Davenport.
Mr. Speaker, as always, it is such a pleasure for me to rise in this House on behalf of the residents of my riding of Davenport to speak to Budget 2025. This is an important budget delivered in extraordinary times. Let's start off by being very honest about where we are at. The world is more dangerous and divided, and Canada is very much facing a world that is rapidly changing and is increasingly uncertain.
All right, so the White House press briefing is roughly 10 minutes behind now. Don't know if it's being delayed, don't know what's going on. Keeping an eye on it. It looked like somebody popped out and said maybe 5 more minutes, potentially. I don't know, though. We'll have to wait and see. If it ends up running too long, I'll just get through the rest of what I wanted to get through, and we'll get right to the chaos in Michigan. Because right now the reporters are just all hanging out, talking, not doing too much.
There's no place for withdrawal, for ambiguity, or for standing still, only for bold and swift action. Let me speak to what matters, to one of the many items that matters to the people in my riding of Davenport. The number one thing I hear about is jobs. People continue to be worried. Will they continue to have good paying jobs? Will their kids coming out of school have opportunities? Without a good paying job, no one will be able to afford a home or live a decent life. And I am very proud, Mr. Speaker, that this budget invests heavily in training.
Your budget's going to run us into the ground. Okay, actually, I'm going to switch gears completely here. We're going to go right to what I wanted to get to. And then if the White House briefing decides to go, because if it runs behind by an hour, then I won't have any time to do this stuff. Jasmine Lane here, literally calling out to the Liberal government for their insanity, hypocrisy, stupidity, whatever you want to call it. It's pretty much all of the above at this point. Here we go. Shout out Jasmine Lane.
This might make some people angry, particularly Liberals, but I've been thinking about this. And if you say that Mark Carney is an economic genius who saved Canada during the 2008 financial crisis, you also then have to acknowledge that Stephen Harper was an outstanding prime minister during that period of time, because the two narratives, they cannot exist without both of them being true. So I would agree, Mark Carney did things that were very good, but he was the governor of the Bank of Canada. So everything that he did was only because of a result of the finance minister, Jim Flaherty, rest in peace, and because of Stephen Harper. If Mark Carney's Robin, that means Stephen Harper was Batman. And that is an irrefutable fact for that particular situation, unless, of course, you're not only trying to rewrite history, but you're also trying to rewrite job descriptions.
And there you have it. There's nothing else to add to that one. Pretty straightforward. All right, moving onward. This is just hilarious. Gary Anandasangri has a Twitter platform or profile. He decided to tweet today, 9:30 a.m., roughly 5,500 views, just over, whatever. Talking about taking real action to protect Canadians from violent criminals and whatever bullshit he wants to spew because nobody believes him. The point I'm bringing this up, 23 likes, absolutely ratioed. 183 comments. 183. Just destroying him. Just ripping him apart. Like, you could scroll through this for hours. You could scroll through this for hours. Oh, man. Alright, let's get right into the Dearborn, Michigan clash that I briefly covered in a video the other day. Let me get some water here. I'm, like, dying. I briefly covered it in a video the other day. The chaos ensued. The protests went a little further than that, I believe. And we have a lot of footage here, about 16, 17 minutes.
America first, America only. America first, America only.
Okay, so my ears are now officially bleeding, but what's with the cross? It's an anti-Muslim protest, and counter-protesters, or whatever you want to call it. So one side is either Christian or Catholic, and the other side is Islamic or Muslim, and yeah, they don't necessarily agree with each other at all. And it was through the streets, and then eventually into, I believe, the city hall, like the mayor's, like the building, the city hall, and they had an entire panel set up with the people of both sides, with officials as well in Dearborn. It was a fucking wild night by the looks of it. And yeah, we're only a minute in. I guess I should have warned everybody watching the volume. You might want to be careful with that one. I'm gonna do my best to keep it down, but they're fucking just screaming at the top of their lungs.
I will not take over America! You will not do what to America! Christ is King! The America! Christ is King! The teeth out, boy. I'm knocking teeth out, boy. Fuck up. You think I'm afraid of you people? Exactly. Come back to your fucking country. Go to your fucking country. Come on, bro. What are you doing? America first. We care about us. Even God. What are you talking about? The word Allah just means God.
No, it does not.
It does.
It means insurgency.
You have a really backwards idea and you're extremely ignorant. These people Go back to your country. All right? Go back to Somalia.
Come on, King. Go back to Somalia. Where's your child bride at? Where's your child bride at?
Holy shit, man. Absolutely wild. And yeah, once again, we've got a lot more footage to go here. This happened all day, all the way into the night. And it's not just like one demographic of person, right? You have all sorts of people there. One side, though, has their face like blatantly out there to show, and the other side, they cover it. You wonder why, right? You wonder why these people cover their faces.
Hey, what the fuck? You fucking disgusting fuck!
Guys, let's get him to safety.
7472.
Get him to safety. Get him to safety.
Let's get him that water, flush his eyes out. Help us around. What happened to us? Disgusting fuck. No! Why you do restraint? Why? What do you do? Everybody back up, please. He probably spent on it. What do you do? There's a reason behind this, guys. Go in first, folks. Yes. Hey, give me some milk. You need some milk. Give me milk.
God is great. Allahu Akbar. Let's go, baby.
God is the greatest. Allahu Akbar.
It's the U.S., man. Guys, let's get him to safety.
7472.
Get him to safety. Get him to safety.
Okay, so I don't know why whoever edited this video did a fucking really bad job, because they're just playing the same clips twice here, but
It's the greatest.
skip ahead a bit here.
Allahu Akbar.
It's the U.S., man.
Whoa, whoa. How you gonna deport us? We're all American citizens. We're all American citizens. Not for long. I'm a boy. I'm a fucking boy. When I serve my fucking country, what did you do? What did you do? What have you done for your country? This country that gives you the benefit and the right to be here. We pay our taxes. You pay taxes? That doesn't make you an American. You sacrifice nothing. I was born in America. You don't give a fuck if you were born in America. What have you given to your country? What have you given to your nation? I'm born here in my country. My city, my land. All right. I got a question. Come here. Call me a boy. Like I haven't given to my people and this country. Come on. What have you done? Hold on, I got a question. That's why I'm asking you. No, I got a question. You've done nothing. So shut your fucking mouth. Who built America? Hold on.
No.
Find some common ground.
Come on, guys.
You heard what he said. What do you got to say? What do you guys got to say? How do you feel about that?
Sorry about freedom of religion, freedom of speech, but we all live in the U.S., bro. Let's get together.
Ain't no freedom of speech. If we talk about the Jews, what's going to happen to us?
Let's get together, guys.
I got a question for you.
We're all together. We're all brothers and sisters, guys.
Come here. I got a question. Who built America? Who built America? After America, when the Great Britain came and conquered and took from the natives, who built America?
Whites built America. What are you talking
Whites or the black slaves?
Whites built America.
Your ancestors is the one that built this. You know that.
No, we didn't.
Go back to history.
We didn't.
What school you
didn't build America. What school did I graduate from? I went to Catholic school.
That's what it was.
I went to a private school. What are you talking about? Come on, guys. We're all brothers and sisters.
Don't insult him. Have a dialogue.
Yes, we were slaves. We
Have a
contributed to
dialogue.
this country, no doubt. No one's saying that black people have not contributed to this country. But to say that we built America, that's not factually correct. The majority of this country was 90% white. Blacks, I think, 5%? I think the highest we've ever been is 13%. I love you, man. I love you, bro.
I share love. Are you good with that?
And we share love, too.
Did you join the cause just now?
Fuck yeah! You can burn it, man. You can burn it.
It's America.
Don't say you can burn it.
This is America.
Don't say you can burn it.
This is America.
Okay, we don't respect America. We don't respect America. We don't respect them. No. Listen. We don't respect America.
So, just to give a little background here, because I guess they cut it out either for YouTube purposes or whatever, he went to go burn the Quran. He put it on the ground and he had lighter fluid. He was putting it on it, and the guy in the Detroit Lions jacket stopped him. And that's why this happened, just to give context to the situation.
We got another Quran. I'll go get a different one. We got another bacon. We go. You can burn it, man. You can burn it.
It's America.
Don't say you can burn it.
This is America.
We got another Quran. I'll go get a different one.
Okay, so this next clip is the one that went super viral. This is the one that everybody was either reposting or, I guess you could say, melting down over. This next clip is pretty wild.
We go. Hey, yo, guys. Disrespect. Hey. This is disrespect, man. Yo.
I just got pepper spray. You like it? This one. Come on, guys, go. Stop it. Chill. You're fucking back it up. What's up? Do it, bitch. Hey! United we stand! Divided we fall! We are not divided!
Bible not America first. Jesus is king.
Jesus is king! Let's go, baby! How is this little fucking immigrant? What the hell is that?
Yeah, they're like a bunch of high schoolers or kids in college, and they're acting like a bunch of children. Yeah, it's actually really pathetic. I don't know, man. And the thing is like, they're not there because they actually give a shit about what's going on. They're only there because they want to get the clout. They want to get the clips for their channel or whatever. And I'm not talking about, I guess you could say that about everybody here technically, but the ones who are literally like running around fucking screaming at the top of their lungs, yeah. Like these kids are like, they don't even care, right? That's why they're recording with their phones and selfie mode and shit like that. They don't actually give a shit. They just want the attention. They want the clicks. They want the clip. And that's all it is at the end of the day. Now, there are people there on both sides that are protesting. But then, like I said, you have the people that are there just for the clout and all of that attention and stuff like that. This guy's definitely a provocateur. He's just going around trolling. But he also did give a speech in town hall that was quite an interesting one. I don't think it's one I can play on YouTube, that's for sure.
But you don't have the right to burn our boom.
Assaulted with pepper spray from their side of coming over here. They're trying to attack people.
Pepper sprayed because we're holding bacon? Is this not America? How many people? These people here.
Jesus forbid it! Shut the fuck up! We can do what we want in our country.
I held the Quran in bacon. This is why Dearborn, Michigan. This is why Dearborn, Michigan needs to be cleared and swiped of Muslims. They don't know how to behave. You take out. No, I don't want to be anywhere near the street. These people are animals. they will attack anybody who disagrees with them. This is why Dearborn, Michigan needs to be cleared out of Muslims, because they have no impulse control. They're animals without any of our same rights and dignities as Americans, and God will smite Dearborn for this place that has turned into an extremist hotbed for jihadi terrorists. Just in October 31st, the FBI busted. Just in October 31st, the FBI set us up again. They're trying to get us to storm in there. Don't go inside. We're not going inside. Let's go inside. Let's go inside. You see, they're trying to get us to go inside. They're trying to set us up. Don't fucking bump me, boy. They're trying to set us up. Go inside. Go inside, you pussy. You gonna bump me? You gonna bump me? Don't bump me. Watch out, little nigga. Get the fuck off me. I'll take care of this. Hey, relax. Touch me again, boy. Fucking hit me. Hey, you don't know nothing about Jesus. You don't know nothing about Jesus. You don't know. Leave him. I got you.
So in the crowd right there, that's Nick Shirley from the Inside Paris video and a couple other videos I think I showed on the channel. Whenever he drops his footage, because it'll most likely be a half-hour long video, you bet your ass we're watching that one as well. This one came out before, so I decided why not. We got roughly 4 minutes left here. Let's see if the White House briefing has started before I continue on. Wow, it just started 5 minutes ago, about 5 minutes ago. So we'll finish this off and then head over to the White House briefing, and then that should lead us directly into question period. What the hell is going on here?
You make white people look bad. You make Americans look bad. You're not. Go home with your head down, motherfucker.
What's up, Brody? Burn that bitch. Burn it. Oh, you ain't gonna go fly right now, homeboy. Burn it. Burn it. Burn that cologne, motherfucker. Burn it. You scary bitch. Burn it. Burn it. Burn it.
So,
burn it.
At 6:30 p.m., these doors open for the public to be able to go in. We can all be Americans.
I got a problem with you. Burn it. Burn it. Burn it. I love black people. Oh, yeah.
It's a serious thing here. You pepper sprayed me, but you didn't get me.
I know, I'm gonna get you next time.
I know. God bless you. God bless you.
I stole it 3 times from you. Look, I stole it 3 times. Stop me!
It's literally a bunch of, like, woke college kids and maybe some high schoolers. Like, I think there's one boomer in the crowd. Or maybe a Gen X, I don't fucking know. But, like, it's just a bunch of losers. Yeah, that's really the only way to put it. Alright, that's gonna do it for that portion of the live stream. Like I said, when Nick Shirley uploads his video, we'll make a return to that because he'll probably have a way better video than that one there. A lot of that was just the same clip over and over again. Like I said earlier, I don't know who edited that, but they need to step up their game, clearly. Alright, we'll just skip to... right here.
First Lady Melania Trump and Second Lady Usha Vance traveled to Marine Corps Air Station New River and Camp Lejeune in North Carolina, where they spent the day meeting with students, educators, military families, and United States Marines. Both the First Lady and Second Lady were grateful for the warm welcome and remain deeply committed to supporting military families and the communities that serve our great nation. May God bless all of them. In economic news, the September jobs report showed the American economy remains strong, with 119,000 new jobs added, more than double expectations. These gains came after the summer passage.
I wonder how many of those are directly from Canada. Just curious, like the percentage, right? Because that's a lot. That's a lot of new jobs.
Of President Trump's historic tax cuts and multiple big trade deals with countries around the world. In particular, construction jobs surged by 19,000 in September, the largest monthly gain in a year. Nearly all of this solid monthly job growth came from the private sector and went to Americans rather than foreign-born workers, the opposite of what we saw under the previous administration. Inflation also remains under control, and wages are up by 3.8% over the year for American workers because of President Trump's pro-growth policies. In fact, real wages are on pace to increase roughly $1,200 for the average worker this year under President Trump. This is a complete reversal of the failed Biden era, when we saw inflation skyrocket to 9%, causing private sector workers to see their wages decline by approximately $3,000. We know that Americans are still hurting from the 4-decade high inflation caused by Joe Biden and the Democrats. But President Trump is making significant progress to fix this, and he will not stop working until he solves it. As the president recently stated, he is never satisfied. For example, President Trump's policies are working to make Americans' Thanksgiving more affordable this year, from their commute to the dinner table. Nearly 100 million Americans are expected to drive next week to spend time with loved ones for the holiday. And thanks to President Trump's Drill Baby Drill agenda, the national average price of a gallon of gas on Thanksgiving Day is projected to be at the cheapest price since the COVID pandemic in 2021. President Trump is bringing down gas prices and providing significant savings to American families at the pump. And again, we expect those prices to continue to decline. According to the American Farm Bureau Federation's annual survey, cooking Thanksgiving dinner will also cost less this year than it did last year and is down about 5% overall. The average price for a staple of the meal, a 16-pound frozen turkey, is down more than 16% from last year, which will provide critical savings for families in their budgets. President Trump's entire economic agenda is aimed at putting more money back into the pockets of hardworking Americans. That's why he signed the largest middle tax cuts in history into law, from no tax on overtime, no tax on tips, to no tax on Social Security. And according to a new study from Piper Sandler, which is out this week, tax filers can expect an extra $1,000 bump to their tax refund next year in what could be a record-breaking tax refund season. So there is more good news to come. We know these refunds will make a huge difference for Americans to help pay down their bills and use towards life's expenses. In other news this week, President Trump took a significant step toward delivering on a core campaign promise to finally close the Department of Education. To shrink the bloated federal bureaucracy, the Department of Education just entered into new interagency agreements with 4 agencies: the Departments of Labor, Interior, Health and Human Services, and State. These agencies will now ensure the delivery of legally required programs while also refocusing them to better serve students. This common sense action brings the Trump administration much closer to finally returning education where it belongs, at the state and local level, not in Washington, D.C. The Democrats' reckless 43-day government shutdown did manage to do one valuable thing. It proved that America does not need a federal Department of Education. During the longest shutdown in history, the Department of Education furloughed 90% of its staff, and America's education system was not impacted whatsoever. Schools stayed fully open across the country. Students attended class and received normal in-person instruction, and our wonderful teachers received their paychecks uninterrupted. The Democrats' government shutdown made it painfully obvious that American families do not need the Department of Education. Since its creation in 1979 during the Carter administration, the Department of Ed has spent over $3 trillion taxpayer dollars without improving student achievement. Despite peer pupil spending having increased by more than 245% since the 1970s, math and reading scores are down in public schools. In fact, the most recent Nation's Report Card from 2024 showed that 13-year-olds' math scores are the lowest they've been in decades, and their reading scores are the lowest since testing began more than 30 years ago. It's clear that throwing more money at a broken system does not work, and that's why President Trump appointed the amazing leader behind me, our Secretary of Education, Linda McMahon, who is making these monumental changes at the direction of the President. We're very grateful to have you here today to talk about these changes and then take some questions. Hopefully folks in this room will have some questions on the very important topic of education. So please, Mrs. Secretary.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Caroline. It's really a pleasure to be here with you today, and thank all of you for being here as well. My purpose here is to speak directly to the American families, not just you, but to the American families, about the work this administration is doing in education to reverse our national decline with a hard reset of our educational system. That reset was the top.
All right, I'm going to do a little skip ahead here just because I'm more curious to see what questions are asked.
Out, and I'll reiterate what you said, that the Department of Education was not necessary during the shutdown. Since the ending through issue on the
Thank you for joining us. You announced the partnership to move some functions of the Education Department to other agencies. Are you talking to members of Congress about codifying this so that it lasts beyond the administration?
Yes, we started our conversation, and thanks very much for asking that, because there have been some reports that Congress is in the dark on this. That's clearly not true. We've been talking to, I've talked to dozens of members of Congress to explain to them exactly what we're doing, to bring them up to speed, and to say to them, look, when we have completed some of these transfers that are working incredibly well, then we will be looking to Congress to codify those, make them permanent.
Brian.
Thank you. Secretary McMahon, what is the update on the negotiations with Harvard? I know the President has publicly pointed to you as somebody who's worked on that. I think you've talked about that at length, but I'd like to understand where are things with those negotiations with Harvard this time?
They're ongoing negotiations, and I feel very comfortable that we are getting close to having those negotiations finalized. It's been open door conversation all along.
Deanna?
Hello, Mrs. Secretary. The President recently posted about establishing a federal standard for AI. Do you know if the administration has a view on the use of AI for students in schools? And Caroline, do you know if the President personally uses AI?
I don't think so.
You can handle
I've
that
never
one.
witnessed it, so I can't attest to that.
Well, I do think AI is going to need guardrails, but I have witnessed AI firsthand. I was at the Alpha School in Austin, Texas, and the first 2 hours of every day in that school, students are learning through AI. They have their headsets on, they're in front of their screens, and the AI is really acting as like an individual tutor for those students, allowing those students that can progress faster to do that. Those who need a little catch up, it refeeds information to them. And so after those 2 hours of learning, you know, the basics of what they're doing in their curriculum that day, then they spend the rest of the day, I mean, they have good recess and all of that time, but then they spend the rest of the day in what are called life skills, and they're actually using the information that they've learned this morning. So I've seen some AI in action that is really proving quite beneficial.
Michael?
Thank you, Caroline. Secretary McMahon, as the Education Department continues to pare down, can you talk about taxpayer services?
All right, so look, I thought we were going to be talking maybe about something different here. If it's just going to be the education stuff,
State and regulatory schools.
like that doesn't affect us here in Canada. I guess AI technology, yeah, it's going to be implemented in everything, so that is crazy. All right, here we go.
Thank you again. Well, let's get to it. You guys were so calm with her. I wish you were that calm with me. We'll kick off with our new media seat, as always. Javier, why don't you start us off, and then we'll get to the rest of the room. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. My name is Javier Negre. I'm from Spain. I'm the owner of the biggest media platform in Hispanic politics, with brands like La Derecha Diario, Ida TV, or UH and Plus, or Vicegrad in Spanish. And I'm happy to be here. Thanks for supporting the new media, also in the Hispanic community. We try to fight against medias like Telemundo, Univision, CNN, or NBC News that are spreading fake news and attacking the ICE operations. We will premiere
legendary Spanish dude running one of the largest platforms, as he just said there, combating CNN and other platforms spreading fake news. Gotta love it. Gotta love it.
This Sunday, the Real America's Voice, the Rainy Show, the Fred Hispanic Show against communism and woke culture that is promoted by people like George Soros to bring communism all over the world, like happened in New York. I have two questions for you, if you don't mind. In Mexico, the young people is protesting against President Sheinbaum. They think she's doing nothing against the cartels. Sheinbaum used the police to attack them, young people, kids, girls, and she's attacking journalists like me, in a country where 150 journalists have been killed in the past years. The USA legacy media is attacking President Trump for his comments about the fake news media, while they are not publishing anything about the murders of journalists in Mexico. Why do you think they stay silent about the murders of journalists in Mexico and the attacks to businessmen like Ricardo Salinas? And my second question is, Trump said he has a plan for the narco state of Venezuela. Does he have a plan for Mexico where, according to Stephen Miller, the cartels are controlling governments and territories?
Sure. Well, thank you, Javier, for the question, and thank you again for being here. We're proud to have new media voices in the briefing room. As for President Sheinbaum and the president's relationship with Mexico, I will tell you that we have seen historic strides from President Sheinbaum and her administration in Mexico when it comes to cracking down on the cartels. They have been incredibly cooperative with the president's efforts at our southern border to crack down on illegal immigration and also the illegal trafficking of drugs at the southern border. Now the president is very interested in taking additional measures against the drug cartels. He's been very clear about that. He's spoken about it, and this is a promise that he made to the American public. And so his national security team is discussing these options all of the time. And on the campaign trail, the president promised to take on the cartels. He has taken unprecedented action to do so, and he has left additional options at his disposal on the table. So those are only decisions that the president can make. Thank you.
What about the silence of the legacy media about the murders of journalists in Mexico? 150 journalists have been killed in the past years.
Yeah, well, it's certainly something I wish the media would report on more, and it's something that this administration absolutely condemns. I can't speak for the media, but I can speak for the president. That's not something he wants to see. Thank you. Sure.
Thank you, Caroline. Is there anything that Mayor-elect Mamdani could say tomorrow that would ease the president's concerns about his future leadership in New York?
Look, I don't want to speak for the president or get ahead of this meeting that we are currently working on tomorrow. As you saw, the president put out a statement tomorrow that the mayor-elect will be coming to the Oval Office, and so our teams are arranging those details. I won't get into the president's thinking on it. I think you'll all hear from him directly. I also think I will just add, it speaks volumes that tomorrow we have a communist coming to the White House because that's who the Democrat Party elected as the mayor of the largest city in the country. I think it's very telling, but I also think it speaks to the fact that President Trump is willing to meet with anyone and talk to anyone and to try to do what's right on behalf of the American people, whether they live in blue states or red states or blue cities, in a city that's becoming much more left than I think this president ever anticipated in his many years of living in New York himself. Nancy.
I guess depending on what time that happens, I might have to go live tomorrow, because there's no question period tomorrow. So I guess there's a potential for that live stream. That would be interesting. Mamdani and Trump meeting.
Thanks, Caroline. This morning, President Trump accused 6 Democratic lawmakers of seditious behavior punishable by death. Just to be clear, does the president want to execute members of Congress?
No. Let's be clear about what the president is responding to, because many in this room want to talk about the president's response, but not what brought the president to responding in this way. You have sitting members of the United States Congress who conspired together to orchestrate a video message to members of the United States military, to active duty service members, to members of the national security apparatus, encouraging them to defy the president's lawful orders. The sanctity of our military rests on the chain of command. And if that chain of command is broken, it can lead to people getting killed. It can lead to chaos. And that's what these members of Congress, who swore an oath to abide by the Constitution, are essentially encouraging. We have 1.3 active duty service members in this country. And if they hear this radical message from sitting members of Congress, that could inspire chaos, and it could incite violence, and it certainly could disrupt the chain of command. These 3 members of Congress, I will also add, knew exactly what they were doing. You look at Alyssa Slotkin. She's a former member of the CIA. Mark Kelly was a captain in the U.S. Navy. Maggie Goodlander was a naval officer, and notably, she is also the wife of Joe Biden's national security former advisor, Jake Sullivan. And so these members knew what they were doing. They were leading into their credentials as former members of our military, as veterans, as former members of the national security apparatus to signal to people serving under this commander-in-chief, Donald Trump, that you can defy him and you can betray your oath of office. That is a very, very dangerous message, and it perhaps is punishable by law. I'm not a lawyer. I'll leave that to the Department of Justice and the Department of War to decide.
But the president has frequently, but Caroline, can I just follow up? The president and the vice president, for that matter, have accused the other side of encouraging political violence. Isn't that exactly what the president is doing when he says that members of Congress should be killed?
Why aren't you talking about what these members of Congress are doing to encourage and incite violence? They are literally saying to 1.3 million active duty service members not to defy the chain of command, not to follow lawful orders.
Actually,
every single
you can refuse an illegal order, which
but
is
they're suggesting, Nancy, that the president has given illegal orders, which he has not. Every single order that is given to this United States military by this commander-in-chief and through this chain of command, through the Secretary of War, is lawful. And the courts have proven that. This administration has an unparalleled record at the Supreme Court because we are following the laws. We don't defy court orders. We do things by the books. And to suggest and encourage that active duty service members defy the chain of command is a very dangerous thing for sitting members of Congress to do. And they should be held accountable, and that's what the president wants to see. Phil.
Thank you. Ambassador Mike Huckabee had a meeting with Jonathan Pollard, a former U.S. citizen who was convicted and spent 3 decades in jail for selling state secrets to Israel. Did the White House know that that meeting was going to happen? Does the administration condone it?
The White House was not aware of that meeting, but the president stands by our ambassador, Mike Huckabee, and all that he's doing for the United States and Israel.
You said that the president was going to do what was right for U.S. citizens, regardless of whether they lived in blue or red states. I'm curious if there's any chance in tomorrow's meeting with Mayor-elect Mamdani that he will be able to convince the president to abandon that promise to cut off federal funding to New York City.
Look, Phil, we'll see how the meeting goes tomorrow, and I'll let the president speak for himself. Natalie.
Thank you, Caroline. What did the president mean when he called reporter piggy?
Look, the president is very frank and honest with everyone in this room. You've all seen it yourself. You've all experienced it yourselves, and I think it's one of the many reasons that the American people reelected this president, because of his frankness. And he calls out fake news when he sees it. He gets frustrated with reporters when you lie about him, when you spread fake news about him and his administration. But he also is the most transparent president in history, and he gives all of you in this room, as you all know, unprecedented access. You are in the Oval Office almost every day asking the president questions. And so I think the president being frank...
Not just in the Oval Office, on Air Force One. Like, they do these press briefings, what feels like almost every day at this point. I don't think there has been any other president that has given this much access for reporters to pretty much have a 24/7 direct line. When he's taking off, when he's landing, in the plane, everywhere, the reporters are able to speak with this man constantly.
And open and honest to your faces, rather than hiding behind your backs, is frankly a lot more respectful than what you saw in the last debate upstairs and didn't take your questions. So I think everyone in this room should appreciate the frankness and the openness that you get from President Trump on a near daily basis.
And
go ahead.
As a follow-up,
yes.
The Washington Post just reported that the Coast Guard has...
I'm calling on Bloomberg. Go ahead.
Caroline,
thank you.
2 questions for you. The New York Times is reporting that the administration is now sending a U.S. official to the G20. They are sending Mark Dillard. Can you confirm if that is true, and then also explain the shift in?
I'd be happy to explain, because there is not a shift. The United States is not participating in official talks at the G20 in South Africa. I saw the South African president running his mouth a little bit against the United States and the president of the United States earlier today, and that language is not appreciated by the president or his team. The ambassador, or the representative of the embassy in South Africa, is simply there to recognize that the United States will be the host of the G20. They are receiving that send-off at the end of the event. They are not there to participate in official talks, despite what the South African president is falsely claiming.
On Ukraine, there have been reports that President Zelensky said, he's looking to look at the plan, that there's been reports about the Trump administration proposing a plan. Can you just give an update on where Russia-Ukraine stands, and does the president plan to speak with Zelensky anytime soon, or when can you expect that?
So I'm happy to provide an update. I've seen quite a bit of reporting on the latest with Russia-Ukraine, so let me clarify and give you guys the truth on where it currently stands. President Trump has made it very clear since day one, and even on the campaign trail, that he wants to see this war come to an end. He's grown increasingly frustrated with both sides of this war, Russia and Ukraine alike, for their refusal to commit to a peace agreement. But nevertheless, the president and his national security team are steadfast in seeing this war come to an end, to end the killing and deliver on the president's promise. Special Envoy Witkoff, Marco Rubio, have been working on a plan quietly for about the last month. They've been engaging with both sides, Russia and Ukraine, equally, to understand what these countries would commit to in order to see a lasting and durable peace. That's how you get to a peace negotiation, right? That's how it worked with Israel, with respect to Israel and Gaza and all of the Arab countries in the Middle East. That's how we accomplished that historic agreement, which the UN, by the way, voted to commit to and accept this week, which was a huge monumental moment. So They have been engaged with both sides, and these talks are continuing. As always, I'm not going to litigate the details of this plan as it's ongoing and it's in flux, but the president supports this plan. It's a good plan for both Russia and Ukraine, and we believe that it should be acceptable to both sides, and we're working very hard to get it done. And I'll also add, I know Secretary Driscoll did meet with President Zelensky today. We spoke with him. He was very optimistic following that meeting. And so again, we are having good conversations with both sides with respect to ending this war. Sure, go ahead.
On Ukraine, you said this is a good plan. So according to our sources, this proposal demands major concessions from Ukraine and doesn't demand much from Russia. So was Russia involved in drafting
Your
this?
understanding is wrong. Have you read the full plan? You haven't.
Sources said.
Yes.
So if you can give details, maybe.
You've read reporting from one side of the war, and so I want you to understand that the administration has talked equally with both sides. You have seen President Trump engage directly with both President Putin and President Zelensky. Likewise, his national security team has as well. In fact, Special Envoy Witkoff and Secretary Rubio met with some of the Ukrainians just in the past week to discuss this very plan. And so just like you saw with respect to Israel and Gaza, we are hearing out both sides of this war to understand what can you commit to end the war. And that's ultimately how we are going to get to an agreeable solution. That's what the president has directed of his team. I know there's a lot of criticism out there and a lot of doubters, but I would just remind you of the historic success that this president and his team accomplished in the Middle East. We believe that is possible with Russia and Ukraine, and we're hoping and working very hard to achieve that. Stephen.
Could you provide a little more context on what to expect tomorrow with the Mamdani meeting? Will it be in the Oval Office, or is it going to be open at least partially to the press?
I don't have any more details to read out for you on the meeting quite yet, Stephen. I know it's of great interest to you and the New York Post, but we'll keep, maybe if it opens, we can commit to letting you in. Sure, go ahead.
Thank you, Caroline. It came up yesterday during a confirmation hearing for the president's pick to lead the CFTC that the CFTC currently has 0 Democrat commissioners, whereas usually it's had 2 or more. Does the president plan to appoint Democrats to financial regulators like the CFTC and SEC, or does the president feel that there shouldn't be Democrat leadership at those agencies consistent with the administration's move earlier this year to remove Democrats from the FTC and other agencies?
I'm going to be completely honest. I haven't spoken to the president about the CFTC in quite some time, but I'm happy to check in with our presidential personnel office and see if there's any updates that we can provide you there. Sure.
Thank you, Caroline. Last week on Fox News, President Trump said that we've had a lot of problems with the French. How would you describe?
J'ai l'honneur d'informer la Chambre qu'une
I have the honor of announcing to the House the following communication. November 20th, 2025. Mr. Speaker, I have the honor to inform you that Mr. Ken McKillop, Deputy of the Governor-General of Canada, signified royal assent by written declaration to the bills listed in the schedule to this letter on the 20th day of November 2025 at 10:29 a.m. Yours sincerely, Ryan McAdam, Executive Director, Office of the Secretary to the Governor-General. Bills assented to on Thursday, November 20th, 2025, an act to amend the Citizenship Act 2025, Bill C3, an act to authorize Gore Mutual Insurance Company to apply to be continued as a body corporate under the laws of the province of Quebec. Bill S1001.
Alors là-dessus, on peut poursuivre avec les déclarations des députés.
We can go ahead and do statements by members. The honourable member for Vancouver Kingsway.
Mr. Speaker, Canadians sent us here to tackle the pressing issues they're facing and improve their lives. They want us to strengthen Canada and create a brighter future for our children. New Democrats are inspired by Jack Layton, who urged us to make Parliament work and deliver results. For people. That's because we believe Canadians deserve a future where everyone can thrive, not just the privileged few. So we're ready to roll up our sleeves and work to make that vision a reality. It's clear that millions of Canadians are struggling right now, but instead of offering solutions, the Liberals are demanding sacrifices from workers while handing out billions to the wealthiest individuals and most profitable corporations. They're slashing services and cutting thousands of family-sustaining jobs amid a jobs crisis. New Democrats are ready to offer a different approach with positive, constructive policies to build a stronger country and a fairer society.
I switched over to the House of Commons because I thought something major was happening, and it looks like they finally passed a bill. I guess it was C3. It passed through the House of Commons and the Senate. And the royal assent is them officially saying like it's passed completely. I believe it was for C3. I thought maybe question period started earlier or whatever, but no, I switched over. I switched over to question period on purpose, but I thought something major happened.
Against the force of the current. Thanks to this quick thinking, courage, and selflessness, a life was saved that day. Amazing. Elena's mother, Jane Vino Taker, later reached out to the office in request of a certificate of life. Elena Shea is an inspiring example of courage and compassion in our community, and we are proud to recognize her bravery here today. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member for Bow River.
Mr. Speaker, as we enter the Christmas season and celebrate the birth of Christ, Canadians are reminded that this is a time not only of celebration and hope, but of compassion and grace. Across our communities, local food banks and charities are working tirelessly to ensure that no family goes hungry and every child feels the joy of Christmas. Their work reflects the best of who we are: generous, caring, and grounded in faith and service. Across my riding in Bow River, charities are ensuring that families and children have the support they need this season. The Whelan County Food Bank Holiday Food Drive is helping local families, while St. Joseph's Parish in Vauxhall is once again setting up its angel tree to collect gifts for the Vauxhall and area food bank. Matthew reminds us, whatever you did for one, for the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me. Let us support these efforts. Let us also ensure that government policy respects and empowers faith-based charities and parishes whose missions lift up the most vulnerable in our communities.
Hear, hear, hear. The honourable member for Humber River Black Creek.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I recently met with Riverside Natural Foods, a proud constituent company headquartered in my riding and a leader in Canada's organic food supply chain. Known for its Made Good brand, Riverside exemplifies the innovation and collaboration that connects farmers, processors, and consumers, and the power of organics to link people to the food we eat and the planet that we share. Riverside is growing by 30 to 40% annually and uses 95% organic ingredients, ideally Canadian grown. A new national report confirms that organic production boosts farm profitability, lowers greenhouse gas emissions, and sustains soil health and biodiversity. Yet the United States spends 8 times more per acre on organics than Canada. I encourage all members to support the Canadian Organic Alliance and their Organic Action Report, a national policy framework to modernize regulations and grow markets. Thank you, Mr.
The honourable member for Selkirk Interlake Eastman.
Mr. Speaker, on the 4th Saturday of every November, Canadians join Ukrainians around the world to remember the Soviet forced famine and genocide of 1932-33 called the Holodomor. Joseph Stalin's communist regime deliberately killed millions of people in Ukraine for being Ukrainian. Stalin wanted to exterminate their language, culture, religion, and identity. After eliminating the clergy, political leaders, academics, and farmers, he then weaponized food. To grasp the scale of this genocide in Ukraine, imagine stripping bare every grocery store, home, farm, fridge, and cupboard across Western Canada today, and then watching every man, woman, and child slowly starve to death. That is the horror millions of Ukrainians endured. Stalin and his Soviet thugs failed to Russify Ukraine then. Vladimir Putin and his Russian barbarians will fail in his Russification of Ukraine today. This week, as we remember the victims of the Holodomor, we stand with those fighting for Ukraine's very survival. May their memories be eternal. Vichnaya Pamyat.
L'honorable député d'Alfred Pelland.
The Honourable Member for Alfred Pellant. Mr. Speaker, I rise to recognize the 80th anniversary of Courrier Laval, a pillar of local media and an essential part of Laval community life. For 8 decades, this newspaper has embodied rigor, local journalism, and commitment to the community that it informs. From the first pages written by founders José Limoges to the most recent edition led by Martin Olivier and Patrick Marsan, Courrier Laval has changed with the times while remaining faithful to its mission.
All right, so we're in statements by members, another 5 minutes or so, and we'll be into actual question period. I just want to switch gears very quickly here to Mexico City. Once again, major protests happening.
Lárgate de aquí. Solo queremos una vida digna, narcojudía. Viajando en aviones privados con los militares, mientras aquí el pueblo muriéndose de hambre. No hay medicamentos, no hay medicamentos, sin agua en los estados, sin agua.
So, yeah, I don't know what the hell they're saying, but they're probably very upset about what's going on, clearly. And, big police presence there, big riot team presence. Obviously, based on what happened last time, it's no shock. It appears that it could be round 2 by the looks of things here.
No somos enemigos, somos el pueblo. No tienes miedo, somos el pueblo. No somos la única enemiga de México.
All right, well, the feed is not very good, so we're going to head back over to the House of Commons.
Andrew, Rachel, as well as Charles, Alexander, and Matthew and their families, I join with Peachland Mayor and Council in grieving. The district has suggested donations to the Peachland Food Bank, a cause Keith has championed. Keith believed in giving back and lifting others up. Let's honor his legacy by doing the same. Rest in peace, Papa Tom.
The honourable member for South Surrey White Rock.
Mr. Speaker, on November 21, we mark World Fisheries Day and recognize the vital role that sustainable fisheries and healthy oceans play in our local economies and to our shared future. Coastal communities across our country rely on the ocean for their livelihoods. For generations, it has defined our culture and our identity. Canada is known around the globe for our world-class seafood and our healthy oceans. Budget 2025 strengthens Canada's capacity to safeguard our coastlines and grow our fisheries through supporting small craft harbors and strong measures to grow our economy and expand our markets. These investments will build a more resilient industry, healthier oceans, and stronger fishing communities. On this World Fisheries Day, let's recognize how important they are to all Canadians. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member for Cambridge.
Mr. Speaker, crime is escalating and families and workers in my community are paying the price. In Cambridge, families sleeping in their beds and workers in retail and service jobs are now facing violent criminals. Just this week, a smash and grab at Canadian Tire, an armed jewelry store robbery at the Cambridge Centre, and gunshots fired at a family home. Imagine being a retail worker wondering if today is the day mass criminals storm in with weapons. Innocent employees looking to earn a paycheck and feed their families. And now, nowhere feels safe, not at home and not at work. My community is done waiting. They are speaking up loudly. They're flooding my email. They expect the government to protect them, not be easy on criminals that terrorize their streets. But what do they get from this Liberal government? Half measures and a weak justice system where criminals roam free. Mr. Speaker, Cambridge has a message for this government. Enough with the soft on crime approaches that put criminals ahead of Canadians. They're asking the government to stop the revolving door of crime and bring back consequences to protect our community.
Hear, hear. L'honorable député de Berthier-Masquinongé.
The Honourable Member for Berthier-Masquinongé. Mr. Speaker, the Mauricie region recently lost a pillar, Jean-Paul Diamond. For many years, he worked hard to serve his community and region. He was involved in the Association for Persons with Disabilities, the Speckled Trout Festival, and the Festival des Neiges. And Mr. Diamond also played an important role in the world of politics. He was first a municipal councillor and then mayor in Saint-Alexis-des-Monts. He then became a reeve in Maskinongé for around a dozen years, after which he represented the region in the National Assembly of Quebec. Beyond politics, we recognize the sincere commitment and loyalty of Mr. Diamond, who always worked hard to develop his region and to improve the lives of his fellow citizens. I would like to send my most sincere condolences to his loved ones. The entire community is losing a leader in Mr. Diamond. Thank you, Mr. Diamond. We will remember.
L'honorable député de...
The Honourable Member for Terrebonne. Mr. Speaker, on November 18, 1803, at the Battle of Vertières, an entire people stood up to overthrow the colonial order and affirm equality between black and white people and between all men and women. That day, Haiti wrote an essential page in the universal history of freedom. And now, the Grenadiers, the national Haitian soccer team, have qualified for the 2026 World Cup, which will be held here in Canada. The hardworking, proud, and resilient Haitian people are offering us a new victory, a new reason to celebrate. This will enable us to enjoy glorious moments not only for sports, but also for memory, hope, and the entire Haitian diaspora. I'd like to sincerely congratulate Monique André from the Haitian Soccer Federation, as well as the entire team, both coaches and players, for this remarkable gift to the Haitian people. Mr. Speaker, tout pour you.
The Honourable Member for Oshawa.
Mr. Speaker, this Liberal government is the most expensive in Canadian history. Food prices are rising 40% faster here than in the United States, crushing workers, families, seniors, and young people. Today, Simcoe Hall Settlement House in Oshawa shared heartbreaking news. Families who have never needed help before are now walking into the food bank. Even longtime donors can't give anymore because they're now struggling just to get by. One mother said her kids sometimes miss school because she can't afford to pack a lunch. Yet instead of giving parents real relief so they can afford to feed their own families, the Liberals point to a national food program that does nothing to fix the affordability crisis at its root. Even while families struggle, Liberals hiked the industrial carbon tax, making food, farming, and groceries even more expensive. How many more families will be forced to line up at food banks before the government finally admits to the dire reality?
The Honourable Member for Burlington.
Canada should be the best place in the world to be a child and to raise a child. On National Child Day, I reflect on the many steps we have taken to make this a reality. Introducing in the last decade the Canada Child Benefit that has lifted 500,000 kids out of poverty. Creating a national child care program that is setting our kids up for success and enabling parents to stay in the workforce. And the creation of a national school food program that is feeding 400,000 kids in Canada. And while these are good and necessary steps, there is still so much more we can and must do to provide the best start in life for our Canadian children. One such area we need to tackle is the increasing harms our children are facing online, including cyberbullying, exploitation, grooming, and AI-generated abuse. Children's organizations, parents, and kids themselves are sounding the alarm. Today, let's commit to tackling these new and emerging issues because all of our nation's kids deserve to live in safety and with...
The Honourable Member for Middlesex, London.
Liberal governments, Canadians cannot afford another Prime Minister who cashes in while they line up at the food banks. As Brookfield chair, the Prime Minister helped funnel $6.5 billion through Bermuda and Cayman tax havens, dodging Canadian taxes for his personal benefit. That is not public service. It is self-service. Every dollar hidden offshore is a dollar not building homes, funding healthcare, or supporting veterans and seniors who did everything right and are now falling behind. Canadians see the pattern. He doubled Trudeau Trudeau's deficits, cooked up the second most expensive budget in history, fudged the numbers to hide how bad it was, and now we learn that he helped the biggest tax dodger in Canada shelter billions. While the Prime Minister and his Bay Street buddies hide the money at the Bermuda bike shop, he tells young Canadians to tighten their belts. This is unacceptable. Conservatives demand an end to this insider game. We will close the loopholes and put Canadians first by cutting taxes for real growth and hope.
The honourable member for Cardigan.
Mr. Speaker, in eastern Prince Edward Island, fishing isn't just an industry, it's a way of life on PEI, and it's part of our identity. More than 1,200 licensed harvesters contribute over $300 million annually to the island economy, with lobster alone accounting for nearly 70% of our landed value. Over the past several months, I've had the opportunity to meet with fishers and the industry stakeholders in the region. These conversations focus on what matters most to our fishing communities: fair prices, deterrence of illegal fishing activity, sustainable stock management, safe working conditions, and ensuring the next generation can continue this proud tradition in Atlantic Canada. As we lead up to World Fisheries Day on November 21st, let us reaffirm our gratitude to the harvesters, the plant workers, the buyers, families, and coastal communities whose dedication sustains one of Canada's most vital industries. Their knowledge, their experience, and commitment to sustainable harvesting ensures that our coastal communities remain strong for generations to come.
The honourable member for Oxford.
This Prime Minister spends more time in the air than he does here in Canada, jet-setting with global elites. In just 8 months, he has taken 28 trips, racking up over 153,000 kilometers, enough to nearly circle the globe 4 times. But what does he have to show for this, for these aeroplan miles? Absolutely nothing. No trade deals and no results. And every time he wheels up, it's Canadians who get higher costs and higher tariffs. When he met the Americans, U.S. tariffs doubled. India slapped tariffs on our peas, and China is hammering our farmers on canola. And auto workers, they're losing their jobs, Mr. Speaker. And now the Prime Minister is on another trip. He's out in Dubai just a few days after Brookfield invested billions of dollars there, Mr. Speaker.
Wow.
What a coincidence, isn't it, Mr. Speaker? He's always there for his Brookfield friends, but he's never there for hard-working Canadians. He has plenty of takeoffs, but no takeaways for Canadians because he has a net zero record when it comes.
The honourable member for London Centre.
Today, November 20th, is Pancreatic Cancer Awareness Day. Every year, 7,000 Canadians are diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, and more than 6,000 succumb to this terrible disease. One was my aunt, Mr. Speaker, my late aunt, Eleni de la Porta, who passed away this past January at the young age of 58. She leaves behind 2 extraordinary sons, Nico and Panayi, her beloved husband, Arthio Petro, her soon-to-be daughters-in-law, Bernice and Coralia, Mr. Speaker. All of this brings to mind, Mr. Speaker, of course, the continued importance of research and awareness and making sure that early detection becomes possible. When we focus on those things, it does become possible, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much to the House.
Oral questions.
All right, question period. Andrew Scheer.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister's deal with Canadians was elect him and he would get us a win on tariffs. Since then, he's taken over 20 trips, which might be worth it if he actually came home with better deals, but he's not. After meeting with the U.S., tariffs are even higher than before. After meeting with China, we now have new tariffs on grain and seafood. India put new tariffs on peas after their meeting. He claimed to have some kind of special ability that would result in new trade deals, but it turns out he's not that special. He's just another Liberal. Will the Prime Minister admit that he's trailing on fade, or is making things worse part of some genius strategy?
The Honourable Minister of International Trade.
Mr. Speaker, today our government took another step forward in our commitment to double non-U.S. trade over the next decade and diversify our economy. While in the UAE, the Prime Minister signed a foreign investment promotion and protection agreement to create a more predictable environment for two-way investments. And we launched negotiations for Canada-UAE Comprehensive Economic Partnership Trade Deal. This agreement would cut tariffs, remove trade barriers, and expand market access for Canadian exporters. With a signed FIPA and launch of CEPA, we are opening doors, creating new markets, and creating opportunities for Canadian workers and businesses, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Regina Capel.
That's such a typical Liberal, eh? Things are always just about to start getting better. Meanwhile, actual tariffs keep going up. Now, one way to increase trade with other countries would be with a pipeline to British Columbia's west coast. But the Liberals killed Northern Gateway in 2016, resulting in billions in lost opportunities for Canadian workers and businesses. Now there's talk of reviving that pipeline, but of course, if the shipping ban stays in place, no one will be able to actually export what comes through the pipe. The Liberals made it illegal to ship Canadian energy off Canada's west coast. Does that law also ban U.S. tankers from traveling through the same area?
The Honourable Minister of Natural Resources.
Mr. Speaker, Canada has a tremendous opportunity to be a leading energy superpower. This government was elected to deliver nation-building projects, strengthen our economy, reinforce Canadian autonomy, advance Indigenous prosperity while contributing to clean growth. We are working with all the provinces, including Alberta, to achieve these shared objectives. The federal government has been engaged in constructive talks with the government of Alberta, and we will have more to say in a few weeks.
The Honourable Member for Regina Capel.
Again, after 10 years, we're just on the cusp of things all coming together, Mr. Speaker. But I can answer the question that the minister didn't answer himself. The answer is no. While the Liberals have made it illegal for Canadian companies to load Canadian ships with Canadian oil, U.S. tankers can continue to travel off BC's coast and take their oil to countries around the world. As we speak, the U.S. crude oil tanker California is traveling from Tacoma to Alaska along that west coast. Why are the Liberals keeping in a law that prevents Canada from exporting our oil while U.S. tankers travel through the exact same place?
I know the honourable member across the aisle is not happy, but the Premier of Alberta has said she's quite supportive of what we're doing and is looking forward to finishing the conversations with the Prime Minister.
The Honourable Member for Charlebourg, Haute-Saint-Charles. Mr. Speaker, since the Prime Minister took office, he has made over 20 international trips under the guise of wanting to make Canada wealthier, but he has accomplished the complete opposite. During his 4 trips around the world, Donald Trump's tariffs have doubled, tariffs on aluminum are at 50%, tariffs on lumber have tripled, and thousands of Canadians have lost their jobs. Every time he travels, we're left with new tariffs. Can the Prime Minister put his passport away so he can stay in Canada and take care of Canada? The Honourable Minister of Canada-U.S. Trade. Mr. Speaker, our colleague knows full well that our government was elected to take care of trade with other countries around the world. We have a very ambitious plan. That's the plan Canadians voted for during the election. My colleague may be a bit confused. Often, a government leader travels, for instance, the trip to the United Arab Emirates, where, good news, we signed a very big, important deal with that important investor, and we will continue to work for the Canadian economy. The Honourable Member for Charlebourg, Haute-Saint-Charles. Well, you were elected under false pretenses. You said that you would fix things with Donald Trump, and they've totally failed, Mr. Speaker. Meanwhile, there are issues with the Canada Revenue Agency. The cost of bureaucracy in Canada has risen by over 80% since the Liberals came to power, and now there are hundreds of thousands of Canadians who can't access their files online. Nearly 1 million Canadians can't access their files online. Callers to the CRA are receiving false information. The minister said that he would fix that. Can he update us on his progress? The Honourable Minister for Government Transformation. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm happy to inform my colleague that, as was announced by the Finance Minister in the fall, we have a 100-day plan to ensure that Canadians receive reliable, accurate, quick service from the Canada Revenue Agency. We doubled call centre capacity at the CRA. 10% of Canadians Canadian callers get an answer within 10 minutes, and no one has to call the CRA to access their file anymore. Everyone has access to their file, so the Minister of Finance's plan is working well. Thank Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Honourable Member for Charlesbourg, Haute-Saint-Charles. Sure, well, let's talk about that then. Former Minister Diane Leboutillier in 2015 made cuts, and they just cut at the CRA. But it gets worse, Mr. Speaker. Canadians every day visit us in our riding offices to tell us about the problems they're having with the CRA. Sometimes they cry. They say, we can't access CRA services. I'm trying to handle things with my taxes. I had to try 4 times before we was able to fix things. So can the government acknowledge that this is an emergency situation? It's very serious. And can they fix the mess at the CRA? The Honourable Minister, that's exactly what we're doing, Mr. Speaker. We acknowledge that Canadians have the right to quick, accurate, reliable CRA services, but now the portal is working. Also, as for calls, 10% of callers have access to support agent within 15 minutes, and we fix the problem of people not accessing their files. Thank you. The Honourable Member for Saint-Jean. Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister had 2 choices this week. First choice, go to Brazil to COP30 and show that he's not completely giving up on the fight against climate change. Choice number 2, go to the Middle East and make deals with petromonarchies. What did he choose? The petromonarchies. Just like he chose oil companies in the budget by offering them billions in tax credits and exempting them from a cap on their greenhouse gas emissions. And to think that before the Prime Minister got into politics, he promoted green finance. Does the Prime Minister realize that by betraying his values, he's also betraying the former director of Équiterre, who sits to his right? The Honourable Government...
Looks like Brazil's getting no money.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister did indeed have a choice regarding what to do this week. What did he choose? He chose to be here in the House 2 times to vote for our historic budget. It's historic for Quebecers. It's historic for Canadians. This Prime Minister will always act in the best interests of Canada. He will always act to get good opportunities for Canada. He will always work to build and to improve opportunities for Canada, and especially for Quebecers, Mr. Speaker. The Bloc Québécois should do the exact same. The Honourable Member for Saint-Jean. Mr. Speaker, while the Prime Minister boycotted the Conference of Parties to meet with sultans in Abu Dhabi, Canada received a volley of criticism. Nearly 2,000 organizations from around the world awarded Canada the Fossil of the Day Award for backtracking in the fight against climate change. Canada is a world champion of pollution. Interestingly enough, the last time Canada received the Fossil Award was in 2014. We remember that at that time, the Canadian Prime Minister was also boycotting the COP. It was Stephen Harper at the time. Is this a coincidence? Or is this because the Liberals are setting us back 10 years? The Honourable Government House Leader. Mr. Speaker, the United Arab Emirates are among the top investors in renewable energy, among the top investors in the world. The Honourable Member for Repentigny. Mr. Speaker,
And where the fuck do you think they make all that money? Because it's definitely not just off renewable energy. Last time I checked. It's not like the Saudis are oil princes or anything like that. My god, it always goes back to the Landman. It always goes back to that clip from Landman. It's just insanity.
And want to backtrack and work with Alberta to build a new dirty...
The Liberals are so stupid. For an entire decade, they pushed clean tech this and clean that, and oh my god, we're doing all these amazing things, and now they're like, we're partnering with the Saudis, we're so cool. Get the fuck out of here.
I was there at the Conference of Parties. I met with environmental organizations from around the world. They told us that Canada has an important role and is playing an important role in fighting climate change and bringing countries together. Not only that, but we are building Canada strong. We are working with other countries who want our clean green energy. We have clean energy to sell, and we are ready to make those deals.
Calgary, Midnapore.
In 2006, the Harper government saw the need for an independent parliamentary fiscal watchdog, and boy, were they right. In his budget brief last week, the PBO reminded the Prime Minister of the Liberals' own words just last November, that reducing the federal debt to GDP ratio over the medium term is key not only for fiscal sustainability, but also to preserve Canada's AAA credit rating. Well, less than a year later, and the alarm bells are ringing. How many more times does this Prime Minister need to be reminded to rein in his spending of taxpayers' dollars?
The Honourable Government House Leader.
Mr. Speaker, earlier today in this chamber, the member for Calgary-Midnapore said the Prime Minister's loyalty was not to Canada or to Canadians. That is a direct quote. I would invite her to retract that statement at this very time.
Apologize.
The honourable member for Calgary-Midnapore.
The Prime Minister's costly credit card budget loads reckless spending today on tomorrow's taxpayers, something an economist should know. After
Okay. Let's look. The honourable member for Calgary-Midnapore may continue, please. Continue.
this Prime Minister's loyalties are to Brookfield. Spending today onto tomorrow's taxpayers, something an economist should know. After 10 years of these Liberals, Canadians are being forced to put nearly 50% more of their personal expenses on credit cards, a result of Liberal financial failures. Fitch Ratings has warned that because the Liberals are ignoring their own fiscal...
The Honourable Government House Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I don't think debate in this chamber is served by challenging a Prime Minister who has stood up for public service in Canada, challenging his patriotism or his service to his country. I know that member doesn't believe those things. I would invite her to restrain her comments with respect to the Prime Minister's feelings about the country and about the people that he serves, and I would once again invite her to retract those comments.
The honourable member for Regina Luban.
After 10 years of reckless spending by these Liberals, Canadians have forced to put 50% more of their expenses on credit cards since 2015. It's so bad that the budget watchdog has condemned the Liberal spending, saying, and I quote, "It's unsustainable and shocking." When will the Prime Minister finally put an end to his out-of-control spending spree so Canadians can put food on their table?
The Honourable Secretary of State for Financial Institutions.
Mr. Speaker, on one side of the House, we have continued tired, old rhetoric. The same questions that question a Prime Minister with world-class business and economic experience versus a leader from the Conservatives that has been in this House for 20 years, hasn't had a job outside of this House. On this side of the House, we're focused on building a strong economy. We're focused on making historic investments in infrastructure, defense, housing, transport. Mr. Speaker, on this side, we're serious about the economy. They continue with the same old, tired rhetoric.
The honourable member for Regina Luban.
That minister should be tired of having a reckless record when it comes to CRA and fix the CRA before he fixes anything else. That's right. The agency that gives the government its credit score says that since the Liberal government frequently ignores their fiscal anchors, the federal finances run into a further risk of deteriorating. A simple question to the Prime Minister is, when will he take his job seriously and get Canada's finances back on track so that Canadians can afford a life?
The Honourable Secretary of State.
Mr. Speaker, on April 28th, Canadians had a choice to make between two visions for the country. One was a vision of slogans and divisiveness. On this side, our Prime Minister, with world-class business and economic experience, had a plan to build our country, to invest in our country, to build our country by Canadians for Canadians. Mr. Speaker, on this side of the House, we are serious about building a stronger Canada, a Canada for everyone. That side is not. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member for Dufferin-Caledon.
Well, a Prime Minister who describes himself as a European is giving $500 million to the European Space Agency to create good jobs in Europe. And it gets worse because the Harwell Science and Innovation Campus, where the European Space Agency will be is located in the UK, is 50% owned by Brookfield. Rather than focusing on lining the pockets of Brookfield and not ripping off Canadian workers, why don't they invest in Canada?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to industry.
Mr. Speaker, it's unfortunate that the other side doesn't recognize the key role that space investments play in our country and our national innovation, especially in a critical
Oh,
year.
it's a key role for Brookfield. I'm sure it is. That 500 million will sit very nicely with them.
Canada and Canadians to be inspired by the potential of space and space in our economy, and I hope the other side reconsiders their opposition to this.
For Dufferin Caledon.
It's an incredibly exciting time if you're a shareholder in Brookfield right now, let me tell you, with all the slimy contracts that these guys are giving to companies affiliated with Brookfield. Meanwhile, we have 2.2 million Canadians lining up at food banks. Meanwhile, we have a 6.9% unemployment rate. And what do they decide to do? Invest $500 million to give jobs to Europe. How is the priority of this government to give jobs to Europeans when there's a 6.9% unemployment in Canada and 2.2 million people using a food bank? Justify that.
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. You know, when it comes to the most innovative things that we can do as a country, we often do them together and with other countries. So, for instance, a former member of this House, a former minister in this former government, the Honourable late Marc Garneau, he went on an American spacecraft, and there was a key piece of Canadian technology that was deployed as part of that, the Canadarm, a piece of technology on which we should all be proud on both sides of this House. So as we continue to cooperate with our European partners on this, let's see the bigger picture and see how the benefits can come to Canada with this investment.
By sending jobs to Europe.
Louis Saint-Laurent, Akiawinrak. Mr. Speaker, for the past 10 years, since the Liberals took office, bureaucracy has ballooned by 80%, yet quality of public services has not improved in tandem. In fact, 950,000 calls were made to the
I'd rather those jobs go to Brazil.
Canadians could not access online CRA services or their own files. That's the result of 10 years of Liberal management and government. It's the same in my county and in my riding, and I'm sure it's the same in all of the members' riding offices. There are dozens of calls each week to our riding offices from constituents who are struggling in dealing with the CRA. That's the situation after 10 years. Why aren't they fixing it? The Honourable Minister of Government Transformation. Mr. Speaker, it's true that the situation at the CRA was unacceptable, so our government took swift action to deliver quick, effective, reliable service to Canadians. And now our plan is working. It's true, we have doubled call center capacity. Now 10% of callers receive a reply within 15 minutes, and all Canadians have access to their MyCRA account online without having to call the CRA. So our plan is working, and there's the proof. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Honourable Member for Drummond. Mr. Speaker, the Minister of Heritage doesn't care at all about private media. There were 800 layoffs at Québecor. The minister stands idly by. Cogeco and Bell Media call for help. The minister won't lift a finger. He's as indifferent to the media crisis as the Prime Minister is to the climate crisis, Mr. Speaker. Does the minister realize that his indifference and stubborn refusal to support private broadcasters worsens the media crisis? The Honourable Minister of Identity and Canadian Culture. Mr. Speaker, I have the utmost respect for my Bloc Québécois colleague, but the Bloc is acting like a firefighter who sets fires and then puts it out themselves. They say, oh, there's a fire, but then they are throwing oil on the fire. How so? Well, they voted against our budget, which would give $38 billion to local media, $150 million to Radio-Canada CBC. That would help media across the country. That would help with local culture and content production in Quebec and throughout the country. What did they do, Mr. Speaker? They voted it down. The Honourable Member for Drummond. Well, this is a former environmentalist speaking. Very interesting. Now, the government just scrapped the digital services tax. It could have funded a fund to support diversity of information and Quebec culture. The government isn't doing a thing for private broadcasters, and when the government is asked about it, they reply, oh, well, we're funding the public sector, as if the broadcasting system were only public, and too bad for the private sector. This prompted columnist Yasmin Abdel-Fadel to say that the minister spat on TVA artists who lost their jobs. What will it take for the minister to jump to action and help private broadcasters? The Honourable Minister. Mr. Speaker, In the budget tabled by my colleague, the Minister of Finance, there are tax credits for local journalism. The Bloc voted against it. There are initiatives for local journalism. The Bloc Québécois voted against that, Mr. Speaker. In the budget, there's $150 million for our public broadcaster. The Bloc Québécois voted nay. That's the biggest content producer of culture in Quebec. The Bloc Québécois voted against that. How do they have the gall, the nerve to rise in this place and tell us that we're not supporting journalism, that we're not supporting Quebec culture? That is outrageous, Mr. Speaker. The Honourable Member for Mégantic-L'Érable-Lotbinière. It's no secret we are dealing with the most costly government in Canadian history. Each and every dollar that this Prime Minister spends without any restraint, Mr. Speaker, means that there's no more money in Canadians' pockets. Canadians are dealing with food insecurity. What does that mean, Mr. Speaker? It means that Canadians cannot afford groceries. In this budget, the Prime Minister chose to increase the price of fuel with hidden taxes. Why does the Prime Minister want to make food even more expensive for Canadians who are already struggling to pay for it? The Honourable Minister of
It actually wouldn't shock me if the Bloc gains seats back based on the way they're standing up.
Question period, day after day, repeating the same talking points, the Conservative leaders' talking points. They're talking about imaginary taxes. Yet when it comes to voting for a tax break of $22 billion for 22 billion Canadians, or a school food program for vulnerable Canadians, when it comes to investing in defense, when it comes to investing in productivity, infrastructure like the Port of Quebec, the Port of Saguenay, investing in defense, investing in industry like the Davie shipyard in Quebec, they are absent. They don't vote for any of that. It's really shameful, Mr. Speaker. Thank you. The Honourable Member for Mégantic-L'Érable-Lotbinière. Well, you heard it, Mr. Speaker. He just listed off the endless, limitless spending that the government has put in its budget. That's what Liberals are. Meanwhile, more and more Canadians have to use their credit cards to feed themselves. They have to eat on credit. They have to empty their bank accounts to have to eat. And for 80% of Canadians, the cost of food is the most costly item for their budget. The Prime Minister, meanwhile, just keeps spending and spending, hiking the price of food. Why are the Liberals determined to make Canadians poorer when 25% of Canadians are already too poor to feed themselves? The Honourable Minister. Mr. Speaker, it is unbelievable to hear the opposition talk about limitless spending. And in the same breath, they talk about the school food program that would have decreased child hunger by 40% in Canada. There are plenty of people who would have benefited from that in his riding. Another example, the Canada Dental Care Program, it would have helped thousands of people in his riding. It's shameful. It's outrageous. I invite him to change his mind. I know, though, that deep within himself, he's probably happy that his leader was hiding behind the budget, and he was hoping that the budget would pass because it's a great budget and he knows it. The Honourable Member for Montmorency-Charlevoix. Mr. Speaker, the Liberals just managed to make their budget squeak by this week. It is the highest deficit budget in Canadian history. They are recklessly spending future generations of Canadians' money. In fact, the main budget pressure for 80% of Canadians is food, and 25% of Canadian households are struggling to purchase food. They are experiencing food insecurity, Mr. Speaker. And to make things worse, the Parliamentary Budget Officer has stated that hidden Liberal taxes will increase prices at the pump by 17 cents a litre. Canadian families are struggling. Why did the Liberals just keep adding more hidden taxes which drive up the cost of food? The Honourable Secretary of State for Nature. Mr. Speaker, it's true that things are not always easy for Canadians. What's important, though, is we need to give Canadians back their purchasing power. In order to do so, we are supporting Canadians in a host of ways. We are supporting families. We are supporting through the Canada Dental Care Program, PharmaCare, the school food program. These are all examples of how we are giving Canadians back their purchasing power. Not to mention all the other huge investments so that Canadians will have good, well-paying jobs. That's what it means to build Canada better and stronger and react to today's crisis.
Speaker, this Liberal government is the most expensive expensive in Canadian history. Every dollar the Prime Minister spends comes out of the pockets of Canadians and drives up the cost of everything, especially food. The St. Thomas Elgin Food Bank is seeing record demand. 4 out of 5 Canadians say food is their top expense pressure, and the Liberals are standing by their industrial carbon tax, which makes it more expensive to grow, ship, and sell food. Not only are they not scrapping it, they're increasing it. Why is the Prime Minister making life more expensive for Canadians when they can't even get by as it is?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Well, Mr. Speaker, that's a bit rich coming from Poilievre's biographer, but let's talk.
Frank Caputo, clap for breaking the rules. Clap it up, guys. Go on.
An experienced politician who's been on the Hill for a long time. She may continue, however.
Mr. Speaker, let's talk about 2 of the main areas of costs for families. Let's talk about taxes and let's talk about housing. This budget cuts taxes for 22 million Canadians, bringing the basic tax rate down from 15 to 14%. This is a major tax cut. It's about $5 billion a year in tax relief for Canadians. 85% goes to the lowest income tax brackets alone. And then on housing, Mr. Speaker, we're making the biggest investment in housing in Canadian history. We are building up the supply of homes, bringing...
The Honourable Member for Elgin, St. Thomas, London South.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I appreciate the plug for my book. If the member read books instead of talking points, the country would be in a better place.
Just destroyed. Sit down.
Risen almost 40% faster in Canada than the United States. Beef up 17%, chicken 6.2%, and now the Liberals are adding a fuel tax that will make gas 17 cents a litre more expensive. Driving in my riding in rural Canada is not a luxury, it is a necessity. A tax on gas is a tax on life. When will the Liberals get real and make life more affordable?
Mr. Speaker, I think it depends on the types of books that a member might want to read. But let's talk about it. Let's talk about books. Mr. Speaker, this week in this House, the Canadian Association, the Canadian Alliance of Student Associations has been on the Hill representing students from across the land. Here is what Abdul Abbasi, the chair of CASA and a student from the University of Alberta, had to say about this budget. Students are pleased to see that the government has met CASA's call for tens of thousands of student jobs in growing economic sectors. This budget is for them. So if the member opposite wants to talk about how education builds...
The honourable member for Brampton Centre.
Mr. Speaker, all Canadians deserve to feel safe within their communities. We have critical legislation before this House that is getting stalled by conservative political antics. Will the Minister of Public Safety tell Canadians what our government is doing to combat extortion, strengthen enforcement?
Your party failed to work with anybody over the budget, so don't even begin.
Public Safety.
Mr. Speaker, let me thank the member for Brampton Centre for incredible hard work and advocacy. Our government is taking real action to stop those who commit extortion, Mr. Speaker. The Conservatives, however, have failed to support measures like lawful access that law enforcement across Canada have been asking us to implement. They won't support Bill C-2. They won't support Bill C-12. They won't support C-14. They won't support hiring 1,000 new RCMP personnel and 1,000 new CBSA officers. Canadians expect, Mr. Speaker, for their oppositions to work together with their government. Let's stop the rhetoric.
The honourable member for Selkirk, Interlake, Eastman.
Mr. Speaker, these Liberals are running government like a traveling circus. Take the F-35 procurement, for example. Justin Trudeau said he'd never buy the F-35s. Then the Liberals ordered the F-35s later. Now, this Prime Minister started another review. Then the Minister of National Defence said the review will be done by the end of last summer. But the Secretary of Defence Procurement says, wait, there's no rush. And meanwhile, nobody can figure out what the Ministry of Industry is actually doing. So once and for all, when will this unnecessary review finally end? And who's actually in charge of buying fighter jets over there?
The Honourable Minister of National Defence.
Mr. Speaker, as part of our generational investments in the Canadian Armed Forces, we are procuring a new fleet of fighter aircraft for the Royal Canadian Air Force. We review all procurement approaches responsibly to align with the best interests of Canadians and the needs of the CAF. We are committed to procuring what the Air Force needs while ensuring economic benefits for Canadians.
Honourable Member for Selkirk Interlake Eastman.
Well, Mr. Speaker, the Defence Minister has said that he would take the lead from the Canadian Armed Forces and experts. Well, military experts could not be more clear. Buy the F-35s. His Chief of Defence Staff said it. His Commander of the Air Force has said it. His Deputy Minister has said it. And now over a dozen retired Air Force generals have said it. By dragging on this unnecessary review, these Liberals are undermining our national security and our reputation with our allies. Yes. When will the Defence Minister finally listen to the experts and buy all 88 F-35s that our pilots need to defend Canada?
Well, I didn't know we were buying 88 of them. Holy crap.
To repeat,
Mr. Speaker, we will be purchasing new planes for the armed forces. We are carefully examining procurement so that it aligns with Canadian interests and the needs of the force. We will purchase what the Air Force needs whilst taking into account economic benefits for Canada. It's very simple, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Calgary Nose Hill.
Yesterday, a shocking expose by Global News outlined how in 2016 the Liberals allowed a Syrian national named Omar al-Qassib, who is a financier of Hamas, to claim refugee status in Canada. On Tuesday, officials revealed that the Liberals have launched a one-touch program that allows refugee claimants to self-declare whether or not they are terrorists when entering Canada. How many Hamas operatives and other terrorists have the Liberals granted refugee status to in the last 10 years?
Yep, let them know.
Secretary for the Minister of Citizenship and Immigration.
Mr. Speaker, I would urge colleagues across the way to think twice about putting on the floor of the House of Commons unverified reports from anonymous sources, Mr. Speaker. Security is of paramount importance in this country. That is a sacrosanct principle upheld by successive conservative.
Hey, this was discussed in committee. I made a video on it. So, anonymous sources, I don't know about that one.
Member knows better.
The Honourable Member for Calgary.
That's actually just a flat-out lie.
For those listening at home, that translates to, they don't know. Global News also reported that an astonishing 450 people with assorted roles in Hamas now have ties to Canada. Last week, the minister was unable to say how many non-citizen criminals and terrorists the Liberals have granted to in an official request. And now Global News is revealing that this terrorist financier has already passed the citizenship test and is awaiting a final decision. How many other terrorists are the Liberals in the process of granting citizenship to?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Continue to cite anonymous sources on the floor of the House of Commons, Mr. Speaker. The reality is, Mr. Speaker, the reality is that security remains always a fundamental responsibility that we take seriously. When security agencies become aware of potential threats to this country, they act accordingly, and we trust them to do that. As for the point that was raised before, relating to what was discussed this week at Immigration Committee, I say the member knows better because she knows very well that our security system is not upheld by an app, that checks, criminality checks, national security checks, all of these checks are carried out before anyone is allowed in this country, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Wellington, Halton Hill North.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister has said that the biggest threat to the security of Canada is Beijing's foreign interference. Parliament passed a law to create a registry to combat this interference. a year and a half ago. The government said it would be up and running by year end. The government must consult with opposition leaders and introduce a motion to appoint a commissioner. There's only 3 weeks left before Christmas adjournment. When will the government consult opposition leaders and introduce a motion to appoint a commissioner?
The Honourable Minister of Public Safety.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I'd like to thank my colleague for the very important question. I just want to assure him, as well as this House, that we'll be moving forward in short order to bring forward the name to the opposition and to have a motion before the House.
The Honourable Member for Wellington, Halton Hills North.
Mr. Speaker, last election, some candidates were vetoed for foreign interference and others were targeted. And CSIS Director Dan Rogers said just last week that China and Russia continue to target Canada. We've had one federal election without a registry, and we could have a second one at the speed that this government operates. So where is the sense and urgency in getting this registry up and running? Where are the speeds not seen in generations? Where are the consultations with opposition leaders? And where is the motion?
The Honourable Minister of Public Safety.
Mr. Speaker, let me take this opportunity to thank the men and women of CSIS in the work that they do each and every day to protect Canadians. I also want to once again assure my colleague opposite that we will be bringing forward a name in short order, and we will ensure that there's adequate consultation that comes before the House, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Member for
I don't believe a word that guy says ever.
Mission Matsqui, Abbotsford.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Extortion threats in British Columbia are up 481% since 2015. The Liberals voted against our Conservative plan a year ago that would have tackled this crisis with mandatory jail time and removing house arrest as an option for extortion with a firearm. Since their refusal to act, thousands of new extortion cases have exploded across Canada. What do the Liberals have to say to those businesses and victims of crime who have suffered due to their inaction?
The Honourable Minister of Public Safety.
Mr. Speaker, what we have to say to Canadians is that we have a bill in front of the House, Bill C-2, that has very important provision called lawful access that will ensure that crimes such as extortion is dealt with in an efficient and speedy manner, Mr. Speaker. This is what law enforcement across Canada, from Abbotsford to every part of the country that I've visited over the last 6 months, have been asking for. It is a bill, it is a component of the bill that's so essential. However, the party opposite has continuously refused to bring forward and to accept lawful access as a very basic principle of Canadian criminal law.
The Honourable Member for Vaughan Woodbridge.
In Vaughan, York Region Police recently charged a local man with 4 counts of extortion. This is just one case among countless all across the country. In fact, extortion is up 330% since 2015 all across the country. And despite this, the current Liberal Minister of Justice voted against our Conservative plan to end the extortion crisis last year. A year, Mr. Speaker. They could have been proactive and supported our plan a year ago, and instead they waited for the fire to get out of control. So will they apologize to the thousands of victims who had to suffer because of their inaction?
Yes. Hear, hear. The Honourable Government House Leader.
Mr. Speaker, it's always funny when I get up in this House and I hear the critic for immigration talking about immigration, that when they systematically slap down any possibility of improving our immigration system prior to the last election. Yes. And now the member for Vaughan Woodbridge stands up and dares ask, what tools are we putting in place to prevent extortion? He's in the way. Tell the whip to get his boot off the neck of C2 so we can give lawful access provisions to our police to prevent, detain, arrest, and jail extortionists in this country.
Gary was getting destroyed, so they had to sub in McKinnon.
Speaker, extortion in Canada has exploded by 330% since 2015. Canadians are being terrorized. People are dying. Homes are being sprayed with bullets. And what does the Liberals do? Nothing. Shame. In Calgary, a woman who was convicted in helping with extortion walked away with just 6 months of house arrest, all because of Liberals' soft on crime policies. We presented our Conservative plan a year ago, and Liberals voted it down. What does Minister have to say to the victims for his inaction?
Honourable Minister of Public Safety.
Mr. Speaker, what needs to happen is that the rhetoric needs to stop from across the aisle. What we need to do, Mr. Speaker, is right in front of the House. We have Bill C-2, Mr. Speaker, that has lawful access as a very important principle of criminal law. We have Bill C-12, the Strong Borders Act. We have C-14 that speaks to the need for bail reform as well as sentencing, Mr. Speaker. These are smart criminal justice reforms that's meant to keep Canadians safe, including those who are experiencing extortion, Mr. Speaker. It's time to get serious and for the Conservative Party to come forward and pass this legislation.
The Honourable Member for Riverdin-Mille-Île. Mr. Speaker, public transit is essential to reducing congestion, supporting economic growth and improving the quality of life for Canadians in urban centres from coast to coast to coast. Last week's announcement regarding the REM represents an important step in my riding towards sustainable transportation and improved mobility in the Greater Montreal area. Can the Minister inform the House how this project will strengthen public transit and support our broader efforts to build a cleaner and better connected future for Canadians? The Honourable Minister. Mr. Speaker, the announcement on the REM is a significant step forward for sustainable transportation in Montreal, but also for Quebec as a whole. The inauguration of the Deux Montagnes branch will transform the way more than 170,000 people, families, workers and students travel every day. There will be major economic benefits, including the creation of 1,000 permanent jobs in the long term. It will also reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 100,000 tonnes per year. This is an ambitious project worthy of Quebecers and worthy of a strong Canada.
The Honourable Member for Newtecumseg-Gwillimbury.
Look out, Mr. Speaker, there he goes again. It seems like the Prime Minister just can't wait to jump on a plane and leave the country and at any opportunity he gets. He's been everywhere, to the U.S. twice, then to Italy, Mexico, and Poland, Belgium, the Netherlands, and so many other countries, right across the globe, and now back to the UAE, and yet Canadians are worse off than ever as the cost of living skyrockets faster than the Prime Minister's air miles. Can the Liberals name one tariff that's been reduced because of all that travel?
The Honourable Minister of International Trade.
Mr. Speaker, we are taking a Team Canada approach to opening new global markets for Canadian workers and businesses. The member opposite should talk to Conservative premiers who applaud the Prime Minister's leadership on the world stage. Let me quote Premier Moe: "We welcome the Prime Minister's efforts to raise Canada's credibility in the international sphere." Premier Doug Ford thanked the Prime Minister for getting Canada out front. Now is not the time to retreat behind curtains like some of the members opposite do. It's time to lean forward and build Canada strong.
Member for Newtecumseg-Gwillimbury.
That was a roast towards Andrew Scheer.
Progress on reducing tariffs for Canadians is still up in the air, just like the Prime Minister. Zero results and zero tariffs removed, and that's not good enough. Not when investment in Canada is down $47.6 billion, when our country has the worst per capita growth in the G7, and when Canadians' families are struggling to eat, heat, and house themselves. Mr. Speaker, is this why the Prime Minister is always traveling? So he doesn't have to see the consequences his failures have brought on this country?
The Honourable Minister of Artificial Intelligence and Digital Innovation.
All right, instead of reading his air miles plan, why do you read the budget? The only word that the opposition seems to know is no. It's time.
The Honourable Member should, I'm not going to comment on what I've read recently in the budget or not, but if he could go through the chair, he may continue.
Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the honourable member for counting air miles instead of reading the budget, but I will say, Mr. Speaker, the only word the opposition seems to know is no. It's time to say yes to building Canada. It's time to say yes to the National School Food Program. They said no. It's time to say yes to building affordable homes. They said no. It's time to say yes to investing in our national defense. They said no. It's time to say yes and build Canada strong.
The Honourable Member for Bow River.
Brookfield Air Miles
because, I don't know, Mr. Speaker, every time the Prime Minister's wheels up, Canadian bank accounts go down. The Prime Minister has taken 28 trips traveling far enough to circle the earth almost 4 times. And what do Canadians have to show for it? No new trade deals, no concrete wins, just photo ops, fancy meetings, hollow letters of intent that never return real results. He met with China, higher tariffs on canola. They visited India, tariffs on yellow peas. Meetings in Washington, higher tariffs on softwood. Meetings in the UK, crickets for beef and pork. So I ask, is he even trying to get tariffs removed or just rack up more air miles?
That was a question, wasn't it? I mean, okay, the Honourable Minister of International Trade.
Canadians know that 2/3 of our economy is powered by trade. We are opening doors for Canadian products to reach new markets. We've signed new trade deals with Ecuador, with Indonesia. We wrapped up an investment agreement with the UAE. We're advancing negotiations with ASEAN, Philippines, and Thailand. And we have a bill before this House to expand our trade ties with the UK. We are laser focused on opening new markets for Canadian workers and businesses. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Spadina Harbourfront.
Mr. Speaker, last weekend was a defining moment for sport in Canada as the Northern Super League, our country's first professional women's soccer league, held its inaugural championship final at BMO Field in my riding of Spadina Harbourfront. Can the Secretary of Sport share with Canadians how our government is investing in women's sport, including the recent $5.4 million commitment to the Northern Super League to boost local economies and bring communities together?
The Honourable Secretary of State for Sport.
Thanks, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to thank my friend and colleague from Spadina Harbourfront, somebody who knows a thing or two about the fight for gender equity in sport and beyond, Mr. Speaker. We are seeing remarkable progress and momentum in women's professional sport across this country, and a smart, sustainable business model has built the Northern Super League, and it's redefining what's possible.
Oh, so why don't you do the women a favor and keep the men out? How about that one?
Economic development agencies have come together to back the Northern Super League with a strategic federal support of up to $5.45 million. We are helping to strengthen the league's foundation and create new opportunities.
Follow suit with what Danielle Smith is doing. You haven't seen that one. I suggest you go take a look at it. A lot of people are angry about that one.
Honourable Member for Niagara South.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister has circled the globe 4 times, meeting with world leaders for photo ops, meaningless letters of intent, and 0 investments. He's returned with nothing, and after 28 trips, Canadians are fed up. After meeting with China, China imposed more tariffs. After meeting with India, India imposed more tariffs. When he went to the UK, crickets. He went to Washington, and Trump imposed more tariffs. Why is it whenever the Prime Minister hops on a plane for another photo op, Canadian families get stuck with higher tariffs?
Honourable Government House Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I want to end this question period, at least the Conservative question. We started this question period talking about a very unfortunate quote from the member from Calgary, Midnapore. I want to draw your attention, Mr. Speaker, to a quote from the member for Algonquin, Renfrew, Pembroke, that I don't think really elevates the late nature of debate in this House. She said, in referring to the budget, they would rather die than suffer the way this Liberal government had been making them suffer. I would invite that member to retract her comment. I don't think these excesses of language and quite obviously patently false entries into debate serve anyone.
Well, is the member we'll have to deal with this afterwards.
Make him answer the question.
The Honourable Member for Rosemont-la-Petite-Patrie. While the Prime Minister is visiting the United Arab Emirates this week, horrific massacres continue to be perpetrated in Sudan. The Rapid Support Forces, supplied by weapons, with weapons by the UAE, have killed thousands of civilians, and Canadian weapons are reportedly being used in these atrocities. Canada exports millions of dollars worth of arms to the UAE. Will the Prime Minister put an end to these arms deliveries and suspend Canadian defence cooperation with this country until it stops supporting the RSF in Sudan? Or will Canada, end of question inaudible for the interpreter.
Je sais pas si on peut.
I don't know if I could be informed if the sound was cut part of the question. The sound was cut during part of the question. Can the member start again? Halfway through, there was a cut in the sound. Whilst the Prime Minister is visiting the United Arab Emirates this week, horrific massacres continue to be perpetrated in Sudan. The rapid support forces, supplied with weapons by the UAE, have killed thousands of civilians. And Canadian weapons are reportedly being used in these atrocities. Canada exports millions of dollars worth of arms to the UAE. Will the Prime Minister put an end to these arms deliveries and suspend Canadian defence cooperation with this country until it stops supporting the RSF in Sudan? Or will Canada continue to be complicit in yet another horrific war? The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister for Foreign Affairs. Thank you. Canada condemns the atrocities happening in Sudan. They have to stop. We are horrified by the recent attacks in Al-Fasher, and we condemn the presumed massacre of 2,000 civils. Everyone must protect civilians and must allow unfettered access to humanitarian aid. Canada will continue to support the Sudanese people, as it has done from the very beginning of the conflict. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member for Nunavut.
The government has legal obligations to First Nations children, but the minister has stopped doing the work. This inaction is costing children their lives. The National Children's Chief Commission is being ignored. The Liberals would rather pay lawyers to fight with First Nations children. Will the minister commit to permanently stop discriminating against First Nations children, or will she continue to make lawyers rich?
The honourable Minister of Indigenous Services.
My God, you're talking about the Liberal Party. They're not fucking discriminating against anybody, especially the natives. Come on now. Get real.
I have on multiple occasions met with many people looking to serve and bring forward solutions.
Like that's just ridiculous. Like the Liberals are the party of virtue signaling. Okay, all they do is cry about the Indigenous people. Like, I don't want to hear about it.
That will deliver the proper care for children surrounded by their family, in community, in their own language, by those that care for them the most. Thank you.
And that concludes question period.
And there you have it, question period.
I would just like to, okay, no points of order? Yes, the honourable member for, what's the writing? Algonquin, Renfrew.
He doesn't even know the writing.
And I was relaying what my constituent had said to me when they first announced that MAID was looking at allowing for people suffering from mental illness to apply for MAID. And what she told me is that she told her doctor as soon as it's available, she wanted to be euthanized because she couldn't take bearing not being able to eat, pay the rent, or pay the heat.
Understood. Okay, j'aimerais tout simplement aviser.
Holy shit, that is dark. Wow. Holy fuck, man.
The actual quote that I think it's really important because the member does owe an apology, not to the House of Commons, but to Canadians, Mr. Speaker. And I would quote the member in terms of what it is that she said. There are older people in my riding who just cannot pay the rent or the electricity bill.
This is debate. This is debate. I'm sorry. Yeah, this is we're getting into we're slipping into debate. We're slipping into debate. The House Leader brought this up during question period, and so I permitted the member to clarify or to attempt to clarify. But I consider this case closed, really, to be honest. Just to let members know that the volume on the earpieces have been.
I just need to point out again that he is a Liberal MP and he is being as unbiased as he can. You know, he might not know the ridings, and at first I talked a lot of shit about him, but I respect the fact that he keeps it as fair as he possibly can when the Liberals want to cry about everything. He shuts down his own party. That's rare. Ferguson didn't really do that. Greg Fergus didn't do that, or whatever the hell his name was. Toe Fungus, he didn't do it.
The government could inform the House as to the business that will be concluded for the rest of this week and into next week. And I do have a couple of quick questions about the agenda. There's been a lot of talk about a proposed pipeline through British Columbia to the West Coast. Of course, that would be useless if the Liberal shipping ban stays in place. Lifting that ban will require legislation. So does the government intend on bringing in legislation to end that double standard law that prevents Canadian ships from transporting Canadian energy but allows U.S. tankers to travel through the same area? And specifically, the opposition has now been asking for weeks for an emergency take-note debate on the trade impacts of this government's failures to get tariffs lifted, specifically on softwood lumber. We have proposed holding a take-note debate next week. I wonder if the government will accept that request, listen to the thousands of Canadian workers who have lost their jobs because of the devastation that has affected the softwood lumber industry, and grant that emergency take-note debate for sometime next week. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Deputy House Leader.
Speaker, it is my pleasure to rise and to answer the Thursday question on behalf of the Government House Leader as the Deputy House Leader. Of course, there's been a lot of discussions this week, but most importantly, what I've heard from Canadians is that they really want to talk about the budget that we put forward that was voted by many members of this House, Mr. Speaker. Lots of Canadians want to talk about the jobs that will be created through this budget, the affordability measures that are in this budget, Mr. Speaker, to help Canadians move forward. This afternoon, we'll continue the debate on second reading of the Bill C-15, an act to implement certain provisions of the budget. We will resume debate on this bill tomorrow, as well as next Monday and Tuesday. On Wednesday and Thursday of next week, we will call second reading of debate of Bill C-13, an act to implement the protocol on accession of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland and comprehensive progressive agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership. I would also like to inform the House that there will be a ministerial statement on Tuesday, November the 25th, which is the first day of the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence.
And finally, Mr. Speaker, I would like to ask for unanimous consent for the following motion: that pursuant to the Building Canada Act, paragraph 62 on emergency measures, the special committee of the House and Senate be that a committee be constituted of the House and Senate.
There's no consent, unfortunately. So that brings us to orders of the day, I believe.
Oh, she did not like getting shut down there.
I believe.
And the thing is, the Liberals do it to the Conservatives all the time with no hesitation, but when they do it back, Mr. Speaker, why are they shutting down my motion? Yeah, no, get the hell out of here. Enough of your virtue signaling. All right, guys, that is going to do it for today's live stream. Hopefully you enjoyed. I will not be live tomorrow, or I might be live tomorrow, depending on what happens with, what was it? It was something to do with Trump and, I don't know, probably, releasing more shit or whatever is going on. I completely forgot what it was. But anyway, I won't be live tomorrow, most likely, just to point that out. I will be live next week on Monday, 4-question period, same time as usual. Videos will go up on the second channel and the main channel as per usual. See you Monday. Have a great rest of your day or night, depending on where you are from. Adios, everybody.
We will build the infrastructure, the homes, and the industries that drive long-term prosperity. We will protect our communities and uphold our values. And we will empower Canadians, especially young people, with better careers, strong public services, and a more affordable life.